You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
There is an island in the North Atlantic where men have been looking for treasure for more than 200 years. So far, they have uncovered booby-trapped flood tunnels, carved stones with strange symbols, 17th century Spanish coins, and evidence of a wooden vault covered in concrete. 6 men have even lost their lives trying to solve the mystery. And, according to legend, one more will have to die before the treasure can be found.
KFI AM 640, it's Later with Mo Kelly. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The History Channel's hit series, The Curse of Oak Island, premiering its 12th season on November 12th at 9 p.m., follows brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, who use the latest technology in an effort to solve one of the world's greatest mysteries. And the treasure-hunting brothers of Rick and Marty join me right now on the show. Rick, Marty, thank you both for coming on today. How are you, gentlemen?
We're doing well, Mo. Thank you.
Rick, let me start with you. Treasure hunting, I need not tell you, is expensive. It can be physically dangerous. It often yields little or nothing in return. It probably seemed like a great idea back when you were a kid reading that Reader's Digest. But what about the reality as an adult? Why do it at all?
Well, there's many reasons. One is certainly I get to do this with my brother and my 2 nephews. I mean, for me, that's everything. Family is important to us, right? And we get to do something that, who amongst us as children or even into young adulthood isn't fascinated by the concept, the idea of treasure? I mean, that's just a remarkable thing to appreciate, that one day you might be able to actually do such a thing. So on that level alone, it's interesting. But you're right. Is it a roller coaster ride? Sure. Not every day do you pull treasure out of the ground. Not every day do you say to yourself, well, today was worth it, and there are some days when it's not worth it. You are absolutely correct. But overall, this is a world-class treasure hunt, a world-class mystery, and I am exceedingly grateful to be a part of it and really appreciate that the world literally has been captivated by it. So on many levels, this is well worth doing.
Marty, I know that, and you know that technology is arguably better than ever and more suited for what you do than ever. But how has technology made what you do both easier and more focused?
You know what? The truth is, I've been disappointed. We have run ground-penetrating radar. We've run magnetometers with drones. We've thrown everything at it, even muon technology. And something about, call it the curse or call it the geology of Oak Island, has made that stuff unreliable. We haven't had, our best results have been researching and digging. That's what our best results have been. And I thought bringing technology to bear would solve this thing in a year or two. Well, here we are, year 12, but it's still, the discoveries keep coming, and we're still, excited to continue.
Rick, maybe this is going to be the answer through what Marty just said. I get the mystery of Oak Island, but what exactly has been the curse, or is the curse?
Well, the curse, according to history or the historical narrative, is that the original umbrella oaks must die, and 7 people must die in pursuit of the treasure. Currently, 6 people have tragically passed, actively engaged in the search for answers, and all of the oaks, the old oaks, are gone. That's historical narrative. I mean, we tried to track that backwards through time. Unfortunately, it has been lost in the fog of time. So we don't really know, but we do know this, that there are we all have experienced some strange things on this island, paranormal things we can't explain. And it has, quote unquote, haunted just about everyone's efforts from the past. How to explain that in a logical, science-based way? Not completely explainable. So there's something strange about this island. Don't know exactly what.
Marty, we know that something may be strange about the island, and we know that there are good days and bad days, more fruitful days and less fruitful days when you're digging and searching. But do you ever get big picture, the idea that you satisfied your curiosity, you've come to a conclusion that there may not be this big find. We've exhausted all our resources. We've covered every portion of this terrain, and maybe it might be time to go home. Do you know if there is that specific moment?
Oh, that has happened many times. You get discouraged. You think, oh man, bloody hell, this isn't going well. But I'll tell you what has happened every year, and this year is no exception. Is this island, almost like it has sort of a personality, offers up something that makes you say, "Uh-oh, this could lead us right to where we need to go," and this makes it all look very real. And this year, that same thing happened. But yes, I've been discouraged. Talk about throwing in the towel, but the island just hooks you with something else.
I'm quite sure, Rick, that you've learned plenty about Oak Island. I'm quite sure you've learned a lot about the history of Oak Island, but I also suspect that Oak Island has taught you something about yourself, or taught yourself the meaning or the value of things. What have you learned about yourself, or collectively about yourselves, in this endeavor?
I think I've certainly learned about whether it's the passing of time, i.e. my age, or the pursuit of answers here, but it has taught me patience. And I think we, in the modern era, we see time from a different perspective than it was seen long ago. And I think that's a valuable lesson to learn from history. But the thing that has really been quite inspirational to me, and I think to all of us, is that the kindness and the support of people we don't know, people who have come to really appreciate this mystery, they have been inspirational to us. And look, in a world that is somewhat divisive and difficult, when you can rally round to the greater good, I think that's an important lesson to learn, that each and every person on this planet is valuable and important. And I think that's what I've learned through the teamwork expressed here on the island. This experience, again, has been inspirational to me and to all of us, I think. And that's an important thing to value and have gratitude for.
Here's what I've learned about myself. I'm not as smart as I thought I was. That's what I've learned.
All right, let me tweak that question just a bit, and I want an answer from both of you, if possible, Rick and Marty, as I close out my conversation. You've learned something about yourselves. You've obviously learned something about the island, but as brothers, how has this either changed, improved, or impacted your relationship just as siblings? Marty, did you want to go first?
No, but I will. You know what? It's been a roller coaster with that too. Rick and I went different ways, when we grew up, and we are very alike at our core, but very different in many ways in how we think. I mean, I'm a lot more mercenary. I mean, the producer of the show said, and he was a very good student of human nature. He said, Marty, you're the man of science, and Rick is the man of faith. And that was, too easy, but it kind of sums it up. And we've had some rocky moments. We're brothers. We fight once in a while. If we didn't, that'd be abnormal. And some of this Oak Island stuff, when it's wearying, has caused us to fight a little bit. But overall, we're rock solid in trying to put this thing to bed. Figure it out. Put some treasure up on the ground and figure out a great mystery. We're still there.
Life to me is about perspective. And I think one of the real treasures I have learned is to, we learn things about each other and how important it is to value that. I mean, my brother has approached this just from a treasure hunting perspective. Marty has taught me that, he says it to me all the time, yes, you can believe and have faith and hope, but you also need the application of logic and cold, hard facts and science. So seeing his perspective through his eyes has been a great learning experience for me, and I really, really appreciate it. And, when you're family, being brothers, it's that much more important to learn from each other, because you experience the same things and yet have a different perspective of the outcome. And I value that tremendously. I think it's been really important in the maturation of myself, of who I am and who hopefully I will become.
Okay, the next time we argue, I want you to remember that. I'm right.
I'm going to take that into perspective.
Okay.
I didn't want to start anything between the brothers. The History Channel's hit series, The Curse of Oak Island, premiering its 12th season on November 12th at 9 p.m. Do not miss it. Rick, Marty, Lagina, thank you so much for coming on this evening.
Thank you,
Mo. Appreciate it.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
But I'm really, really starting to have a problem with Variety. Variety usually comes out with these lists of the top 100 movies of horror or of all time. And we laugh at it. We ridicule it. And we realize that, okay, Variety's just not serious. And I came across this other article which poses the idea. It's a theme that we've heard before, but it's factually untrue. Where they talk about, here's the title to the story: Super Burnout, with most superhero movies flopping. Not true. Right there, that's not true. Can Marvel and DC's 2025 slates reverse an unprecedented box office drought? When you say Marvel and DC is referring to the DC universe of movies, which is being produced by Warner Brothers and so forth. When you say Marvel, to the uninitiated, you don't know if you're talking about Marvel as in Sony Marvel Universe or MCU, which is Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is movies which are produced by Marvel Productions. They're not the same thing. The movies which have failed, it's not because of superhero burnout. If you see a movie like Madam Web, it failed because it's horrible. It's not because it's a quote unquote superhero movie and people are tired of superhero movies. The number 2 movie of all 2024 was Deadpool and Wolverine. It had nothing to do with it being a quote unquote superhero movie. It just had to do with it being a great freaking movie. It was very funny and it gave us all the things that we wanted in a good movie. And oh yeah, it has some superheroes in it. That's the fallacy. But when you keep telling this lie that people are tired of superhero movies, it's almost like saying you get 8 or 9 movies which underperform, which are action or happen to be rom-coms. People aren't getting tired of rom-coms. People are not getting tired of action movies. Those are just bad movies. And to then make the argument that superhero movies are somehow are this law of diminishing returns. The more superhero movies we get, the fewer which are actually successful, denies the reality that there were just some bad movies. And you have companies like Sony putting out garbage, trying to hold on to Marvel's coattails because Marvel had, as in Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Productions, had a host of movies in a run of maybe 10 years of really good movies. They were just putting out garbage because people were accustomed to seeing really good movies.
That's like saying Tawala's sick of Mexican food when really he just doesn't want any more of the place that hosed him off that one time. Like the same token, I don't want any more Eternals. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, beyond the Eternals dig, which wasn't that bad. If you watch it again, it's not that bad.
Well, after you wake up and finish it.
Sure. But the issue at hand is if you really look at this year's box office, the only big box office numbers came in by way of superhero films. Even the Joker, which as widely panned as that was, has still just crossed the point of making all of its money back. That is, and this is a movie that is horrible. You can't say that about a lot of films. Never would I go and see Venom 2. Venom 2 still made a lot of money.
Right.
Are we keeping the box offices open or are we going to complain about superhero films that I'm tired of seeing them? Which one do you want? You want theaters closed?
Let's give some more facts. 2023, just last year, the number 3 movie across all box office was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Not only was that critically acclaimed, I think it even was an Academy Award nominated, it was the number 3 movie domestically. The number 4 movie last year was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The number 8 movie was Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Did these movies underperform? Yes, but that's relative to previous expectations. They did not flop. They did not somehow bring down the overall box office. To Tuala's point, if anything, they kept more movie theaters in business than they did harm.
I mean, $600+ million for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I believe it actually probably topped out at more than that. That can't be a flop when you're saying that movies like these rom-coms that are coming out making 18 million, across the totality of them. You can't have flops being an equal category with those monies or with those dollar signs. No, hell no. This type of felonious reporting pisses me off to no end.
It's so dishonest, because a person who actually likes superhero movies knows these distinctions, and they're huge. If you think that the genre is suffering, then you haven't been paying attention to the fact that Marvel Studios only came out with one movie in 2024, and that was Deadpool and Wolverine.
And it was about time they cut down, though, because they were having some quality control issues. I mean, we all suffered through the Marvels, right?
Yeah, but they were being judged against themselves.
Exactly.
The Marvels as a movie didn't lose money. It still, I think, made like $300 million or something. We're judging superhero movies against superhero movies, not against the movie industry.
Right. But if you get people thinking, boy, I sure hope we're going to get another Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and then they get Marvels, Eternals, et cetera, all in a row, eventually they're going to stop showing up.
Okay. Let's go further with that point. Is that because of superhero movie fatigue or mediocre movies?
It's from bad movie, mediocre fatigue.
So it's not then a fatigue of the genre. It's like, oh, not another movie from this genre. I'm just tired of. Why is it they can't do more gangster movies, with Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola?
No, you know what you remind me of when you talk about this is all the focus groups that I had to endure during my print newspaper career. They keep on missing the point. Don't do focus groups. People don't know what they want. If you give them something good, they're going to want that.
That, yes. Yes, it has nothing to do with, look, if you have 10 more superhero movies, if there were superhero movie fatigue, then those movies would not do well, period, because of superhero movie fatigue. It doesn't matter how good of a movie that you give me, I'm tired of that genre.
But I wonder if people are getting a little bit gun shy, because look at what's on the slate coming up. Like, who's going to go see Craven, honestly?
But you know what? That goes into the bad movie category. It's a flawed premise, because you're taking, look, let's not insult nerds. Nerds know that Craven is from a universe, and that universe's titular character is not even going to be in it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you have a Frankenstein movie starring Igor, and you don't have the actual Frankenstein in it. Who the hell wants to see that?
Oh, you're saying that because Terry Garr passed.
Yeah. We're going to get to that as well. But
right.
But I'm saying, you can't have a portion of that universe. You can't have, all the co-stars and not the actual star. You can't have all these Batman movies and never Batman.
I think my point was that Marvel had such a stellar record for such a long time. And then when it became hit and miss, it's like you're going to go see everything they put out. But then you realize, oh, no, I'm not going to go see every single thing anymore.
No, but see, that's not true, because people do. They put out Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. They put out Spider-Man, No Way Home. And they put out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in the same year. It's not hit and miss. Those are two humongous hits, and Ant-Man and the Wasp was subpar. And even Kevin Feige, when he returned, said, yeah, this one was an absolute miss, and here are the reasons why. No one was on set supervising this. This doesn't stick to the story. They missed the whole point. Even they are self-aware within the company. It's not hit and miss when you have two really, really big films that dominate all of film box office history that way.
If you're tired of superhero movies in 2023, you're not going to get a hit from that same genre in 2024. That's what I'm saying. It's a contradiction.
Sure. You mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I was so looking forward to Adam Warlock finally being in a movie. I thought they kind of fumbled that.
Yeah, I think they did too. But that has to do with a movie not being as good as it should be, not from an overall fatigue or a sense that the genre has nothing more to offer.
And again, like those are minor quibbles when you consider what's being argued. And this is like, we can all get it. Every nerd goes into a film with their own expectations. And lots of times that's on us. You know, our expectations not being met. We're not in the writer's room. We have no idea. But when you look at these stories and when you look at how this genre transcends the entire industry, and this genre, it influences action movies as well, because you're not having your film Top Gun 2, you're not having a Top Gun 2 being made trying to compete with a Marvel or DC film.
Hold that thought. We got to go to break because we're really over. And Mark has something else to say, I'm sure, that is probably going to infuriate everyone. I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to rebut him and beat him down rhetorically and verbally. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live. What, Mark? Everywhere. Everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Just to put a pin on what we were saying last segment, I know superhero movies get a lot of hate. I'm quite sure someone's listening right now is like, I don't care about superhero movies. Yes, you do, because you care about movies. You care about movie theaters. And if it weren't for superhero movies, your favorite movie theater down the street probably would already be closed. Let's just be honest. If it wasn't for Deadpool and Wolverine this particular year, dozens of theaters would have already closed. Now, they may close 6 months from now, but Deadpool and Wolverine just by itself kept a lot of people in business. There are Marvel movies which are coming in 2025, which are going to keep these mom and pop movie theaters in business. That's why it's so important. We talked yesterday about Governor Newsom, how he wants to keep movie productions here in California. Well, you better hope that some of them are superhero movies, because they're going to employ a lot of people and keep a lot of movie theaters in business. That's why it's important. Now, as you were saying, Mark, you were so wrong. Go ahead.
No, it's almost as if you're implying that Killers of the Flower Moon Pie or something isn't enough to keep theaters in business. Is that what you're daring to suggest?
That's one of the movies which will have absolutely no impact on the business. Yes, correct.
Now, you're right. It's puzzling, the decisions that are made, though, that we mere mortals and civilians aren't privy to. Like, they canceled the Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. We don't know why they did that. I hope that the reason for that is because they liked Wesley Snipes in Deadpool and Wolverine, and they want to go back to him. They're going to make another Fantastic Four movie after they've already had 2 attempts at that, and they were just god-awful. And we like all the people in the new one. We like Pedro Pascal and who's the actress from Mission Impossible?
Her. Yes.
Her. I mean, we'd watch her reading the ingredients on a tube of hemorrhoid cream, but I'm not sure they're the right people to play those characters, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. So I think it's a crapshoot coming up is what I'm saying.
It may be a crapshoot, but if anything, the faithful nerds are going to be there. That Marvel Fantastic Four, which is different from the Sony Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is not going to be received the same way. That Marvel Fantastic Four movie is not going to fail. Could it possibly underperform? Yeah, definitely. But we're looking at it through a Marvel lens. We're looking at it through Marvel movies, which made up to $2 billion. It's being judged against itself. You have these movies like Dune, which will make $400 or $500 million, but it still will be financially a failure. And it's not enough to sustain the industry because no one else is making movies of that ilk or genre.
I mean, the Mad Max Furiosa film, as beautiful as that film was, and as much as I enjoyed watching it, that film was an expensive, by all accounts, dud because it's so grossly underperformed.
The failure of that got a lot of people's attention.
Yeah, which is tough. That's a big budget art piece, and they try to blend in some stuff for those of us who want to relive our Mad Max glory days. But no, every one of us is going to go and see the Fantastic Four by Marvel, which point to be made, when Marvel brought over the Hulk, it won. When Marvel brought over Spider-Man, he won. Just got to say. Yep. When they bring over Fantastic Four, it'll win. Will it not meet our expectations? Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be someone who's going to be like, there's a woman in it.
Why? Sure, got it. Here's the takeaway. If you are rooting for Hollywood to continue to make money in California in a business sense, you should be rooting for superhero movies. If you are rooting for the movie industry and movie theaters to do well, you should be rooting for superhero movies because those are the movies which make the most money for the most people and the most theaters around the country. So if you're rooting against superhero movies, you're rooting against California, you're rooting against the industry, and you're rooting against movie theaters.
You hate America.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, it's like people may think, well, I hate that movie. Well, you know what? That movie's keeping your ass in business.
I want to disagree with you because it's boring when we disagree, but you're right. And we can bicker about the smaller points, like their plans for the Silver Surfer being Julia Garner, I think. I'm not for that at all. I want the old Norrin Rad male Silver Surfer. That's the one we grew up with. But, it's their game to lose at this point.
Yeah. And I know, as someone who's really been following this closely as you have, I know what's coming for Marvel. They have some straight bangers, as they say, coming. There are some huge projects with big names. We know Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Dr. Doom in some form or fashion or capacity. We know that there are some huge tentpole movies which are going to be in the $2 billion revenue range, which is going to save a lot of movie theaters. It's going to prevent a lot of folks from going out of business prematurely. If you're not rooting for superhero movies, you are rooting against yourself.
Pack them in there.
Touch and agree?
Yes. Do we have to touch?
Oh, it's a phrase.
Oh, okay.
It's a phrase.
No real touching, please.
We know.
Okay.
In fact, when we come back, you have to talk about your costume.
No.
And tomorrow and how that's going to work out.
I have a trainee. I can't.
What if? Never mind. It's later with Mo Kelly. We'll catch up with George Norrie. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And before we go to the news break, Brashida, let me just ask you very quickly. How is Mark Ronner as a KFI instructor?
He's actually really awesome.
You're not supposed to say that. You don't know this show very well, do you? You're not supposed to give him props.
So helpful. Honestly, he's helped me probably learn this better than anyone. Still learning curve, but it's not his fault.
Okay, so anything you do well, we have to give him credit for?
Only the mistakes.
This is killing you, isn't it?
It is.
You can't stand it.
Anytime I mess up, just blame him.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Mo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up shortly will be Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, and he joins me right now with the preview. Good evening, sir.
Hello, Mr. Kelly. We've got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about ancient astrology and how it affects us today. And later on, the law enforcement and the paranormal on Coast to Coast.
All right. I'll definitely be tuning in, my friend. How was your weekend?
Not bad. How about you?
It was full. It was very, very full. One of those weekends where you feel like I didn't have a weekend.
You ready for Halloween?
Yes, as a matter of fact. I am ready for it. I got my costume, and we're going to have a party here at Lady with Mo Kelly tomorrow night. I am ready for Halloween.
And Thursday night, we've got Ghost to Ghost on Coast to Coast.
All right, Ghost to Ghost. I'll be tuning in as well. I'll talk to you soon, my friend. But that's a perfect lead-in. The hours are counting down to the first, what I say is going to be an annual Later with Mo Kelly pre-Halloween soiree. The invitations have gone out. And if you are in ownership of one of the golden tickets, as they say, as in like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, we'll be seeing you tomorrow night. And if you are not physically in the house, do not worry. You'll be able to catch everything which is going on. Expect Instagram lives. Expect all sorts of photos. Real time. You won't have to wait until the end of the show. Of course, you have to wait till after the show for the podcast. But you're going to be listening live. We're going to have some unexpected events, that's for sure. I, to this moment, don't know what Mark Ronner is going to be tomorrow. I don't know what Tawala Sharp is going to be tomorrow. I don't know what Stefan is going to be tomorrow. All I know is we're all going to be together in the Helpful Honda studios as we bring this live show and presentation to you. Can't wait.
I cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Sponsored by Wendy's. Wendy's is going over and beyond.
Yes,
to make this a
they're
special event.
Delicious grub. I will be here early to start setting up, helping out Michelle, Cube, super producer Michelle. You have been fantastic behind the scenes and making sure all of the ducks are lined up, and we will be ready to rock and roll tomorrow.
We got our Later with Mo Kelly swag in today. So, our attendees will be getting at least a t-shirt and maybe some other stuff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really, really fun. Really fun. And if you haven't seen the space, if you haven't been to this portion of iHeartMedia, it's a very cool portion of the building. They usually have band performances there, signings, autograph signings for artists. It's just really, really indicative of how this show has grown. And Mark, will you be doing news tomorrow or just hanging with us?
I think I'm going to be just hanging with you in some sort of costume, and there will be somebody else doing the news down here in the news booth.
Mm-hmm. So you have some real time to just meet the people.
Well, we did sort of a version of this last Thanksgiving, thereabouts, at the White House, and it was a little hectic compiling and doing the news in front of a noisy crowd of people. I want to focus my full attention on you, Mo.
Yeah, that sounds weird.
I know it does. I know.
It's just weird. Stefan, I think he's busy, but I'll just find out if Stefan has got his costume together. And I expect everyone coming. You better be in costume. If I have to get in some sort of costume, then I need everybody else in costume. It's a Halloween party.
Well, that was the ground rules for getting a ticket, wasn't it?
Well, we don't know how people are going to show up. If you show up in T-shirt and jeans, I mean, I can't make sure they're actually going to, get a costume together.
Well, Tawala is the keeper of the velvet rope. He's not going to let anybody in who just wanders in cutoffs.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we're going to have some people showing up looking absolutely crazy. I expect it. But that's why we also have security.
Yes. Now, Tawala, how many costumes that you have to choose between?
Oh, only one. Once I set my mind on what I was going to be, what I was going to portray, it was easy for me to go through my various costuming sources to piece together everything I would need to actualize it.
All right. And Mark, did you have more than one costume option that you were considering?
I had a couple options. It'll be appropriate.
Define appropriate. Yeah.
Be appropriate. What are you wearing under these costumes?
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be no pasty twirling or anything like that. It'll be appropriate for a family audience.
Okay. There aren't going to be any kids, so you should be fine.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yes.
Wait, are you going as Princess Leia?
No, but that was a terrific idea last night. And don't think that I wouldn't do that, by the way. Just put a couple Cinnabons on either side of your head.
And you can't wear a bra.
I think I'm like a good solid B cup. I'm not sure I need one.
You know the story behind that, right?
Of George Lucas not wanting Carrie Fisher to wear a bra in the future?
Correct.
Or I guess
the past.
The
she
past.
said there are no bras in space, and that's what she was told, so she couldn't wear a bra in Star Wars.
Yes, they've conquered hyperdrive, but not supporting a woman's...
It depends on how you look at it,
Not even with laser cups.
No. Or George Lucas was just a filthy lecher. There's always that.
They're not mutually exclusive.
No.
It could be both. But we're looking forward to seeing all of you here tomorrow. We're looking forward to you listening in to all the shenanigans tomorrow. People are asking me, so what is going to happen? I honestly can't tell you. I don't know. We have not mapped it out. We know that the show has a starting time and an ending time. And before we start the show, we're going to eat. And during the show, we'll probably eat again. And then later during the show, right before it's over, we'll eat again. There'll be so much food. Most of the time we will be eating. We're not allowed to eat in the performance area, but damn it, we can run outside and eat some pizza real quick or, eat some Wendy's and then come back in.
We can eat a bunch. We can purge. Then we can go back and eat some more.
Purge?
Do the same thing all night.
Oh, I don't know about purge. No.
Okay.
All of it's going to be,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, all of it's going to stay with me for the whole evening.
I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
We will be live streaming. We will have Matt on board. We will be streaming and going around and doing social media stuff. So make sure you're looking fly. Don't come looking like you just woke up thinking, it's just going to be. No, you're going to be on camera. Okay, you're going to be on camera, and you don't want to get a tour around the station looking bummy.
Yes,
come looking fly.
That's right. We will give a full tour to all of our 10 attendees after the show. So there's going to be a lot of good things, and we'll live stream that as well, so you can see that.
Yeah.
You won't be left out, but it's better to be here and experience it firsthand. But that's all tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, and you'll hear us tomorrow. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Your vaccine for stupidity. KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.